Towards the end of 2024, I gave myself the challenge of hiking one of Hong Kong's steepest climbs called Castle Peak to do a sunset cityscape and landscape photography mission. But I had doubts about actually vlogging and hitting that upload button simply because when coming here, I didn't really have a particular video idea, no coherent photography lesson to share with everyone, which is usually what makes a successful YouTube photography video. Unless you're doing gear. In hindsight, I was probably just afraid that the video will fail and not generate any views, as recent videos on this channel completely underperformed my expectations. A mild hit of insecurity about my vlogs. Well, let's try to overcome that while I huff and puff like the big bad wolf.
It's only been 3 minutes.
And show you how I crush my performance anxiety. On YouTube.
No, Castle Peak isn't necessarily a very tall mountain. It's just a bit under 600 meters in terms of its altitude profile. But in terms of its elevation gain, man, just non-stop incline all the way to the peak. By the end of this hike, your muscles will have muscles.
In the pursuit of growing this YouTube channel, I sometimes find it difficult to press record, capture, and film when there isn't a big YouTube idea. Because I just know that I'd be disappointed with that dreaded gray circle of doom that says 10 of 10. It wasn't like this when I first started the channel.
So actually, this isn't really the first time I've gone to this place. And the very first vlog on this channel was actually shot on Castle Peak. I mean, you don't need to watch that anymore. It's very cringe. I didn't know what I was doing. I was very camera shy and I was really just starting out. But then that means that I haven't been to this place for like 4 years now.
2025 starts my 5th year on YouTube, and looking back at my first videos, they were completely all over the place, and getting 100 views was even a struggle. Unless I paid to advertise. But there lies the benefit of small YouTube creators. I simply can experiment what works and what doesn't. I'm completely free to trying out shoots that I'm excited about and explore different places.
I think I pretty much hike a lot of the popular trails here in Hong Kong. But one thing I do try to avoid is hiking around the challenging trails just by myself. So today, I scammed Mark into joining me on this hike so that I don't suffer by myself. Good to have a camera assistant, so you don't need to pick it up again and do the hike twice. And FYI, Mark was also on that first episode.
Hey, look at this. It's all sweat.
Starting a YouTube channel has some benefits, even if no one watches in the beginning. In the 4 years since I uploaded my first vlog, I've improved my photography and filmmaking skills, which I'll share the sunset photos later on. There's also being able to document more of my life, to capture memories to look back on and share my thoughts to everyone else. And also, unexpectedly, my fitness.
So it says this trail is very difficult. Mark and I were just talking about how this time around the hike doesn't feel as challenging as the first time we remembered it. We don't feel like dying and our hearts are exploding. I mean, it's still fairly challenging, but perhaps all this photography, hiking, carrying heavy backpacks up mountains probably trained me quite a bit already, so it doesn't feel as demanding as before.
YouTube is a difficult ride. Up to this point, I still struggle to reach my required watch hours to be monetized. There are times when I will feel demotivated and question whether all this effort is worthwhile. It's fine to have those thoughts, everyone probably has them. And then you receive different comments about how your videos inspired them, made them laugh, and that you look cute. Then you forget about all of those doubts.
But I guess what I'm really trying to say is, if you're quite passionate about something and want to share to people what you are creating, just press record. Don't overthink that strategy. I mean, there's bound to be someone out there who's going to enjoy the things that you are creating. And this isn't really just for photography. This can be anything that you're passionate about and want to share with everyone the fruits of your hard work. Just channel that main character energy, and at least that's how I think about it. But for now, sunset time to take photos. Visibility right now isn't the greatest. I think it's fairly smoggy. There's like a gray haze within the air. But I think we can still work something out. So I thought this was a fairly decent composition. There's the path over there, and then some foliage in the foreground, and then the radio transmission tower in the background with some glow of the setting sun from the side.
It may not look it, but it was very windy and chilly up the peak, which made me resort to some peculiar techniques for warmth as I faced some issues.
So battery feels cold. And it just says battery exhausted. I've been told there's still a charge.
I know where you can put it.
Underneath. Give it some warm love. Don't try this at home, guys. So unfortunately, I do think the smog is quite severe. Visibility is not as good as I hoped for. Hopefully it will improve once the city lights from the town opens, and then that's just going to illuminate behind the haze.
The message I want to give out is not only to motivate others feeling stuck or being held back in creating the stuff that they want and are afraid of not gaining any reception from YouTube, but it also serves as a personal reminder for me to look on the bright side when times are tough. We shouldn't just look into growth from a YouTube algorithm standpoint, but also growth on the personal side and being able to express creatively and make the most out of our time.
So at least for this shot, I'm using the rocks as my foreground. A bit of silver grass, which is quite unexpected. I didn't know there's silver grass on this trail. And then background, you have the Castle Peak hinterlands with a not so colorful sunset. But composition wise, I think it works. Just hope for a better sky today, but can't be too picky. Quite like the very long road or highway from over there being centered and then framed, and it also helps how there's some traffic jam where all the red lights from the cars gives it a bit of pop in color. Alright, so majority of the city lights turned on already and some ambient light. So I think shooting a bit wide works out because I can show that vast cityscape with a bit of the background mountain. I think I'm using a 35mm focal length right now, and I just really like how both sides of the buildings just converge towards the middle and then just flow through to the background and illuminated by the buildings and the street lights. Pretty scene. Very unique to Hong Kong, I think, standing on a mountain just overlooking all the cityscapes. But anyway, I think that's it for today. Time to wrap it up and hike down. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you hit that like and subscribe button? And why don't you check out this video? I think you're going to enjoy it too. See you there. Thanks for watching.